Daddy won't know if you don't tell anyone. Preston Blackwood's voice echoes through the empty girls' locker room at Riverside Prep Academy. Blake Stone stands perfectly still, her torn navy blazer hanging from her shoulders like wounded wings. The white blouse beneath bears a jagged tear along the shoulder seam. 4 golden boys surround her, Preston with his politician's smile, Hunter Kensington flexing his football-trained hands, Sterling Ashworth holding his phone like a weapon, and Ryder Pemberton blocking the exit with casual menace. But when Blake turns around, Preston's smug expression freezes. Hunter's phone slips from his trembling fingers, clattering against the wet tile. Because etched across Blake's scarred back, barely visible through the steam rising from the nearby showers, are symbols that will make the FBI reopen files they sealed 15 years ago. The industrial floor cleaner burns their nostrils. The sound of running water masks their shallow breathing. Complete silence stretches between predator and what they assumed was prey. What happened at exactly 3:47 p.m. in that locker room would prove that some people's secrets are more dangerous than their enemies ever imagined. Before we dive deeper into Blake's story, I want to build a community of people who care about justice and believe everyone deserves respect, regardless of how quiet or different they might seem. If you believe true strength comes from protecting others rather than exploiting weakness, hit that like button to help spread this message. Subscribe for stories about hidden strength and real justice. And thank you to everyone supporting this channel. If you want to help me continue researching and telling these important stories, the thanks button helps me invest more in quality and depth. Because what Blake Stone is about to reveal will completely redefine what real power looks like. 3 weeks earlier, Blake Stone steps through the mahogany doors of Riverside Prep Academy for the first time. Connecticut morning light filters through Gothic windows, casting long shadows across marble floors that cost more than most families earn in a year. She carries a worn leather backpack. Simple, practical, nothing like the designer bags floating past her in the hallway. Her eyes move systematically across the entrance hall. 3 exits, main doors behind her, east corridor leading to the science wing, west passage toward the gymnasium. 7 security cameras mounted at strategic angles. She notes the blind spots automatically. Students flow around her like water around a stone, their conversations a mixture of vacation plans in the Hamptons and complaints about trust fund restrictions. Blake chooses a seat near the emergency exit in her first period advanced chemistry class. She completes the homework assignment in 12 minutes, molecular structure equations that should take 30. When Dr. Marshall asks for volunteers to explain covalent bonding, Blake keeps her eyes on her notebook, despite knowing the answer better than the textbook. She never raises her hand, never draws attention. At lunch, she sits alone at a corner table, methodically eating a turkey sandwich while observing the social hierarchy. The Golden Boys hold court at the center table, Preston Blackwood gesturing grandly as he describes his father's latest Senate committee appointment, Hunter Kensington flexing unconsciously as cheerleaders giggle nearby. Their kingdom spreads across the cafeteria in concentric circles of influence and fear. Every 12 minutes, Blake checks her phone. Not for social media or text messages, but for a simple green dot that confirms her father's consulting business keeps him safely in meetings. The routine never varies. Check at 12 past, 24 past, 36 past, 48 past the hour. Most students would call it obsessive. Blake calls it survival protocol. Her homework arrives perfect every morning. Teachers initially suspect plagiarism until they watch her solve calculus derivatives in her head during pop quizzes. She never asks questions, never seems lost, never displays the helpless confusion that typically accompanies transition to Riverside's rigorous academic standards. Dr. Sterling assigns her extra credit work after the first week. Blake completes it without complaint, but never shows pride in the achievement. The wealth gap becomes obvious in dozens of small ways. While classmates discuss skiing trips to Aspen and summer houses in Martha's Vineyard, Blake wears the same 3 sweaters in rotation. Her shoes show careful maintenance rather than frequent replacement. But her posture suggests training that has nothing to do with deportment classes. Shoulders square, weight balanced, eyes constantly scanning exits and approaches. Faculty members notice her unusual maturity. She doesn't seek approval or validation like typical 17-year-olds. When Sterling Ashworth attempts to engage her in student government recruitment, Blake declines politely, but firmly. When Hunter Kensington offers to help her navigate the social landscape, she thanks him and continues walking. She treats everyone with respect, but maintains careful distance, like someone who has learned that attachment creates vulnerability. Preston Blackwood has never encountered a problem that money, charm, or his father's influence couldn't solve. At 18, he commands Riverside Prep with the casual authority of inherited privilege. His great-grandfather's portrait hangs in the Founders Gallery. His father sits on 3 congressional committees, and his trust fund contains more zeros than most people see in a lifetime. The Golden Boys operate like a precision machine. Preston provides strategy and political protection through family connections. Hunter Kensington brings physical intimidation, 6 feet 3 inches of football muscle, wrapped in preppy sweaters, and killer smile. Sterling Ashworth handles psychological warfare with debate team precision and student government authority. Ryder Pemberton controls digital narratives through hacking skills learned from his Silicon Valley uncle and social media manipulation that would impress corporate marketing departments. Their track record remains perfect. In 4 years at Riverside, they have never faced meaningful consequences. Sarah Chen transferred to Swiss boarding school after the Golden Boys convinced administrators she was struggling with cultural adjustment issues. Her parents signed non-disclosure agreements and donated $50,000 to the new computer lab. David Martinez left Riverside following academic integrity concerns that mysteriously appeared after he refused to write Sterling's English papers. The Martinez family relocated to California rather than fight the allegations. Jennifer Walsh pays $300 monthly for protection, lunch table access, lab partner guarantees, social media shielding. David Park contributes $400 for similar services, plus homework assistance. The protection racket generates steady income while maintaining plausible deniability. Teachers see generous students helping classmates. Administrators observe model citizens engaging in community building. Principal Watson owes his position to Senator Blackwood's recommendation. The school board includes Hunter's father, a defense contractor who supplies military equipment to Connecticut National Guard units. Sterling's mother chairs the Parent-Teacher Association and organizes fundraising galas that determine faculty bonuses. Ryder's Family Foundation sponsors the technology upgrades that keep Riverside competitive with other elite institutions. Their parents' weekly poker games take place in Senator Blackwood's home study, surrounded by photographs of presidents and Supreme Court justices. Conversation flows between defense contracts, political appointments, and educational policy decisions. The boys overhear enough classified information to understand their protection extends far beyond academic disciplinary measures. The Golden Boys don't lose isn't just their unofficial motto. It's documented reality. 4 years, dozens of complaints, 0 permanent consequences. Transfer requests, withdrawal applications, and sealed settlements protect their reputation while eliminating opposition. Any family wealthy enough to challenge them discovers that Riverside's Board of Trustees includes judges, prosecutors, and political leaders who owe favors to Golden Boy parents. Evidence of their systematic approach fills locked filing cabinets in Sterling's basement. Psychological profiles of potential targets, financial assessments of family vulnerability, detailed plans for isolation and intimidation campaigns. They study their victims like military strategists, studying enemy positions, identifying weaknesses and planning attacks with methodical precision. Blake Stone represents their first real puzzle. Most new students either seek immediate integration or display obvious vulnerability. Blake does neither. She observes, evaluates, and maintains polite distance without showing fear or desperation. After 3 weeks of careful analysis, Preston decides direct recruitment offers the best approach. Blake, isn't it? Preston materializes beside her lunch table with his practiced campaign smile. Hunter flanks him on the left, Sterling on the right, while Ryder positions himself near the exit, standard formation for recruitment conversations. How are you adjusting to Riverside's unique social ecosystem? Blake looks up from her turkey sandwich, chews thoughtfully, swallows before responding. Fine, thank you. Her voice carries no eagerness to please, no nervousness at sudden attention from school royalty. She returns to her meal as if the conversation has concluded. We've been watching your academic performance, Sterling adds, consulting his tablet with theatrical precision. Impressive numbers across all subjects. Dr. Marshall mentioned your chemistry aptitude specifically. The Golden Circle could benefit from your intellectual contributions, Preston continues, settling into the chair across from her without invitation. Premium access to study groups, guaranteed lab partnerships, social media protection, invitation-only events. 500 monthly covers, full membership benefits. Blake sets down her sandwich and meets his eyes directly. Her gaze doesn't waver or show intimidation, unusual for students encountering Golden Boy recruitment for the first time. I appreciate the offer, but I'm not interested in joining organizations. Hunter leans forward, close enough that his cologne mingles with the cafeteria's industrial cleaning solution. His smile reveals perfect teeth, maintained by expensive orthodontics. Maybe you don't understand how things work here, Blake. Riverside has traditions, expectations, social structures that help everyone succeed. We're offering guidance through that system. Blake's breathing remains steady. Her pulse doesn't quicken. Her shoulders don't tense. She continues eating as if Hunter's physical proximity means nothing. I understand perfectly. Thank you for your concern, but I prefer handling my own social navigation. Sterling exchanges glances with Preston, their first sign that standard approaches might not work. Most students either accept recruitment eagerly or display obvious fear that makes intimidation effective. Blake shows neither response, creating an unprecedented strategic challenge. Your father's consulting business must keep him traveling frequently, Ryder mentions casually, scrolling through his phone with practiced indifference. Dangerous work, international clients, unstable regions. Families in that situation usually appreciate local support systems. For the first time, Blake pauses slightly before responding. Her eyes narrow almost imperceptibly, but her voice remains calm. My father's work doesn't concern my school activities, but I'm sure your parents keep you informed about their business interests as well. Preston's smile falters momentarily. Implied knowledge about their parents' connections wasn't expected from a transfer student who keeps to herself. He recovers quickly, standing with fluid grace and adjusting his blazer. Think about our offer, Blake. Riverside can be a lonely place without the right connections. After they leave, Blake checks her phone. 24 minutes past 1 o'clock, right on schedule. The green dot confirms her father remains safely in meetings. She finishes her lunch methodically, disposes of her trash, and walks to AP Physics without looking back. But Emma Wells, sitting 3 tables away, watches the entire interaction with fascination. She recognizes Blake's controlled responses, her systematic observation patterns, her careful protocol adherence. Emma's own phone shows the same 12-minute checking pattern, the same green dot confirmation system, the same practiced awareness of exits and approaches. 2 girls carrying identical secrets, surrounded by predators who have no idea how dangerous their newest prey might actually be. The systematic isolation campaign begins Monday morning with surgical precision. Blake arrives at advanced chemistry to discover her usual lab partner, Jennifer Walsh, has developed a sudden family emergency requiring immediate attention. Dr. Marshall pairs her with an empty station instead. No explanation, no alternatives, just solitary work, while classmates collaborate in comfortable pairs. By second period, the pattern becomes obvious. Group projects in AP History suddenly reach capacity before Blake can join. Study sessions for upcoming calculus exams mysteriously fill up when she inquires. Even simple requests for note-sharing meet with apologetic responses about exclusive arrangements and prior commitments. Ryder's digital warfare proves more sophisticated than typical high school social media drama. Fake Instagram posts appear on anonymous accounts, featuring carefully edited screenshots that suggest Blake considers her classmates intellectually beneath her standards. The captions include phrases like, "New girl thinks she's smarter than everyone," and "Daddy's money can't buy friends when you're this arrogant." The rumor campaign spreads through Riverside's social ecosystem like wildfire through dry timber. Blake's father's consulting business becomes a money-laundering front for international criminals. Her family's frequent relocations suggest witness protection or fleeing criminal charges. Her academic success stems from bribing teachers or cheating through sophisticated technology networks. Teachers begin questioning Blake's homework originality with uncomfortable frequency. Dr. Marshall requests source citations for chemistry lab reports that previously received praise. Mrs. Henderson demands to examine Blake's calculus work during class, searching for evidence of unauthorized assistance. The academic excellence that should earn respect instead generates suspicion and scrutiny. Blake's response confounds her tormentors completely. She continues her established routine without visible distress, arriving early, sitting in her chosen seats, completing assignments with methodical precision. When Jennifer Walsh appears isolated from her own friend group following Blake's laboratory partnership termination, Blake shares her lunch without comment or expectation of gratitude. Emma Wells notices these small acts of kindness from her observation post 3 tables away. When Marcus Thompson struggles with organic chemistry concepts that Blake mastered weeks ago, she slides her detailed study notes across his desk during independent work time. No grand gestures, no public declarations of generosity, just quiet assistance that asks for nothing in return. The Golden Boys reconvene in Preston's BMW after school, frustration replacing their usual confidence. Sterling reviews his psychological assessment notes while Hunter cranks the engine, allowing air conditioning to combat Connecticut's unseasonable October heat. Standard isolation protocols aren't generating expected emotional responses, Sterling reports, consulting his tablet. Subject maintains baseline behavior patterns despite systematic social exclusion. Maybe she's just slow to process, Hunter suggests, adjusting the rearview mirror to check his reflection. Some people take longer to break down. We've seen it before with transfer students who think they're tough. Ryder shakes his head, scrolling through social media analytics on his phone. The digital campaign has perfect penetration. Every student has seen the posts. Engagement rates are through the roof. Shares are hitting target demographics. But she's not responding to reputational damage like normal people do. Preston drums his fingers against the leather steering wheel, calculating political angles and strategic alternatives. His father taught him that every opponent has pressure points. The key lies in finding the right leverage. Her father's business keeps him traveling to dangerous locations. International consulting suggests government contracts, possibly classified work. Maybe we're approaching this from the wrong angle. What do you mean? Sterling asks, looking up from his behavioral analysis spreadsheet. Instead of attacking her directly, we make her understand that Riverside has long arms, Preston explains, his voice dropping to the serious tone he inherited from Senator Blackwood. Families with secrets need to understand that privacy requires cooperation. Local support systems become essential when your safety depends on maintaining certain appearances. The direct confrontation arrives on a Thursday afternoon when autumn rain creates perfect acoustics for intimidation. Blake finishes her 20 laps in the school pool, her stroke technique revealing training that extends far beyond recreational swimming lessons. Every movement demonstrates efficiency, endurance, and power, that suggests serious athletic background. She completes her routine exactly 17 minutes before the custodial staff begins their evening cleaning rotation. The girls' locker room sits empty, except for the sound of running showers and Blake's careful movements as she changes from her competition-style swimsuit. She towels off with practiced efficiency, checks her phone at exactly 36 minutes past 3 o'clock, confirms the green dot that signals her father's continued safety. Preston leads his team through the corridor with casual authority, timing their approach for maximum psychological impact. They've studied the security camera blind spots, confirmed faculty locations, and ensured complete privacy for their intervention. Hunter carries bolt cutters disguised as maintenance equipment, plausible cover for entering restricted areas during after-school hours. Emergency water pipe inspection, Preston announces as they push through the locker room door without knocking. His voice echoes off tile walls with theatrical authority. Maintenance reported potential flooding risk in this sector. Blake stands near locker 47, half-dressed in jeans and an unbuttoned white blouse. Her navy blazer hangs on the metal hook, gold riverside crest gleaming under fluorescent lights. She doesn't scramble for cover or show embarrassment at the intrusion. Instead, she turns to face them with controlled composure that suggests this situation feels familiar. The custodial staff arrives in 13 minutes, Blake states calmly, checking the wall clock. Perhaps your inspection could wait until appropriate supervision is available. Sterling positions himself near the secondary exit, while Ryder blocks the main corridor access. Hunter flexes unconsciously, his football training providing intimidation through physical presence alone. The formation creates a psychological cage. No escape routes, no witnesses, no authority figures within earshot. Maybe you need education about Riverside respect traditions, Preston continues, stepping closer until his cologne mingles with the chlorine scent rising from her damp hair. Students who isolate themselves from community support systems sometimes experience unfortunate accidents. Swimming pools can be dangerous places, especially for people who swim alone after hours. Blake's breathing remains steady. Her pulse doesn't quicken visibly. Her shoulders stay relaxed. She meets Preston's eyes directly without flinching or showing submission. You boys should call your parents. Now. The unexpected response breaks their psychological momentum temporarily. Hunter moves forward, close enough that his shadow falls across Blake's face. You think your daddy's money protects you here? This isn't some backwater school where weird transfer students get special treatment. Riverside has standards, expectations, consequences for people who don't understand social hierarchy. Sterling raises his phone, activating the camera with obvious intention. Insurance documentation, he explains with debate team precision. Sometimes students make false accusations after experiencing necessary social corrections. Video evidence protects everyone's interests. The threat escalates beyond psychological intimidation into physical territory. Hunter grabs Blake's blazer from the hook, examining the expensive fabric with theatrical appreciation before letting it drop to the wet floor. Preston steps on the gold crest deliberately, grinding his heel against the emblem until threads loosen and fray. Accidents happen to expensive clothing when students don't cooperate with reasonable requests, Preston explains, his politician's smile turning cold. Accidents happen to students too, especially ones whose families work in dangerous consulting businesses that create international enemies. Blake's response maintains the same steel calm that has frustrated their previous attempts. No begging, no negotiation, no fear responses that typically make intimidation effective. Her voice drops to dangerous quiet. Last warning! Call your parents immediately. Hunter misinterprets her stillness as submission. He reaches for her blouse with football-trained hands, intending to complete the intimidation through clothing destruction and public humiliation. Maybe you'll understand Riverside traditions better after experiencing appropriate social adjustment. The fabric tears along the shoulder seam with a sharp sound that echoes off tile walls. White cotton separates, revealing Blake's bare shoulder and the beginning of intricate artwork that extends across her back. Hunter's grip tightens, preparing to inflict maximum psychological damage through forced exposure. But when Blake turns around completely, Hunter's smug expression freezes. Preston's political composure cracks. Sterling's phone slips from his trembling fingers, clattering against wet tile as the camera stops recording. Because etched across Blake's scarred back in elaborate detail is a phoenix rising through flames, its wings spanning from shoulder blade to shoulder blade. Military unit insignia sits embedded within the design. Shadow Unit 7, in precise lettering that Hunter recognizes from his father's classified military briefings. GPS coordinates mark specific locations: 34.05 118.024 Classified operation symbols that Preston has seen in his father's Senate Intelligence Committee documents surround the Phoenix like protective talismans. The artwork tells a story written in permanent ink and scar tissue. This isn't teenage rebellion or artistic expression. It's operational documentation, memorial commemoration, and warning system combined into a single comprehensive display. Every symbol carries meaning that extends far beyond personal aesthetics. Preston's recognition comes first. His father briefs him on classified military operations during family dinners, sharing Intelligence Committee insights to prepare his son for future political responsibility. Shadow Unit 7 appears in reports about witness protection programs, organized crime prosecutions, and federal task force operations that require congressional oversight. Hunter's military background provides different context. His father supplies defense contractors with specialized equipment used by federal protection details and witness security operations. The GPS coordinates correspond to locations where major crime syndicate prosecutions required extensive witness testimony and family relocation protocols. Sterling steps backward involuntarily, his debate team confidence crumbling as he realizes their target represents something far more dangerous than a vulnerable transfer student. The psychological profiles, behavioral analysis, and strategic assessments missed crucial information that could have prevented this catastrophic miscalculation. Ryder's technology expertise helps him understand the digital implications. If Blake Stone carries federal protection status, their harassment campaign has generated electronic evidence that could trigger federal investigation protocols. Social media manipulation, coordinated intimidation, and systematic targeting of protected witnesses violates multiple federal statutes. Blake's posture shifts subtly but unmistakably. The quiet teenager disappears, replaced by someone whose training extends far beyond academic excellence and swimming technique. Her stance becomes tactical, weight distributed for movement, muscles coiled for response. When she speaks, her voice carries authority that belongs to operational environments rather than high school social dynamics. Shadow Unit 7 sends regards to Senator Blackwood, Blake states with controlled precision. Her eyes remain fixed on Preston's face, watching his political composure disintegrate as implications cascade through his consciousness. Your father's Intelligence Committee oversight should have included better operational security briefings for family members. I'm genuinely curious about that moment when Blake's true identity was revealed through her tattoos. Have you ever discovered someone was completely different from their appearance? Someone whose quiet exterior hid incredible strength, or a fascinating background you never suspected? Share your thoughts in the comments. Because what the Golden Boys are about to learn about Blake will make all of us reconsider how we judge people based on first impressions. The 8-second sequence that follows will be analyzed by federal investigators for months. Security cameras in the corridor capture audio through thin walls. Digital forensics recover deleted social media evidence. Witness testimony from MOLs provides crucial corroboration for events that reshape Riverside Prep's entire administrative structure. Hunter attempts recovery through physical intimidation, reaching for Blake's wrist with football-trained grip strength. His hand never completes the motion. Blake's defensive response involves precise pressure point application that causes immediate nerve disruption without permanent damage. Technique taught in federal protection training programs that prioritize incapacitation over injury. The wet tile floor becomes tactical advantage rather than slip hazard. Blake's positioning utilizes environmental features with professional expertise, creating leverage points and escape routes that transform potential victim status into operational control. Metal lockers provide sound amplification that makes her controlled strikes echo with authority that penetrates their psychological defense systems. Preston finds himself against Locker 52 with his collar clutched in Blake's left hand, while her right maintains pressure against his carotid artery. Not enough to cause unconsciousness, but sufficient to demonstrate complete tactical superiority. His father's political influence means nothing when confronted with operational capabilities that exist outside normal civilian frameworks. "Call Senator Blackwood," Blake instructs with surgical calm. "Explain that his son attempted to intimidate a federal witness. Tell him Blake Stone sends personal regards and looks forward to his Intelligence Committee's review of family security protocols." Sterling and Ryder remain frozen near the exits, their strategic formation now revealed as amateur hour compared to Blake's professional maneuvering. She maintains control of Preston while monitoring their positions, demonstrating situational awareness that extends far beyond normal teenager capabilities. The psychological reversal is complete. 4 privileged boys who never faced meaningful opposition discover that their perfect track record was maintained through carefully selected targets. Blake Stone represents their first encounter with someone whose background includes training specifically designed to neutralize threats like them. Hunter cradles his wrist, shock replacing his typical arrogance as sensation returns to his fingers. The pressure point technique was applied with medical precision, enough to demonstrate capability without causing permanent harm. His football experience included pain management and physical confrontation, but nothing prepared him for systematic tactical dismantling. Blake releases Preston and steps back, maintaining ready position while checking the wall clock. Custodial staff arrives in 6 minutes. Security protocols require your immediate departure from restricted areas. Any future contact should be directed through appropriate legal channels. Her clothing remains torn, shoulder exposed, tattoos clearly visible in fluorescent lighting. But the vulnerability they intended to create has transformed into evidence of strength that extends far beyond their comprehension. Every symbol etched into her skin represents survival, sacrifice, and systematic preparation for exactly this type of confrontation. Preston straightens his blazer with trembling hands, political instincts suggesting immediate damage control strategies. But his usual tools, family connections, financial pressure, social manipulation, prove useless against someone whose protection extends to federal levels that supersede local authority structures. "This conversation never happened," he attempts, voice lacking his typical commanding authority. Misunderstandings between students should be resolved through appropriate academic channels, not escalated through external complications. Blake's response carries finality that leaves no room for negotiation. This conversation will be documented through proper federal channels. Witness protection protocols require comprehensive reporting of all intimidation attempts, regardless of success or failure. Your parents should prepare for federal inquiry regarding systematic harassment of protected individuals. The Golden Boys exit the locker room in complete silence, their perfect record shattered by 8 seconds of tactical reality. 4 years of unchallenged dominance ends with the realization that some targets carry protection that extends far beyond local authority structures. Blake checks her phone exactly 48 minutes past 3 o'clock. The green dot remains steady, confirming her father's continued safety despite the exposure incident. She dresses quickly, covering the tattoos that revealed too much information, and begins preparing for conversation protocols that will determine her family's future security status. Federal response begins within hours of Blake's incident report. By Thursday evening, Unmarked vehicles occupy strategic positions around Riverside Prep Academy. Friday morning brings suits with federal identification and authority that supersedes local administrative control. Principal Watson discovers that his comfortable relationship with wealthy parents means nothing when FBI investigators require access to disciplinary records, financial documents, and communication systems. Senator Blackwood receives classified briefing updates about his son's involvement in federal witness intimidation. The Intelligence Committee oversight he uses to impress constituents becomes personal liability when professional obligations conflict with parental protection instincts. His political career faces scrutiny that could extend beyond Senate ethics investigations into criminal liability territory. Hunter's father learns that defense contractor relationships with federal agencies include strict requirements about family member behavior. Systematic harassment of protected witnesses violates multiple security clearance provisions that determine business licensing and government contract eligibility. 30-year defense industry relationships face termination due to his son's operational security breach. Sterling's mother discovers that Parent-Teacher Association influence provides no protection against federal investigation protocols. Her fundraising activities undergo examination for potential money laundering connections, while her social media accounts face digital forensics analysis that reveals coordination with other Golden Boy parents to suppress previous incident reports. Ryder's Family Foundation faces federal audit procedures that examine technology donations for potential surveillance capabilities. His hacking skills, previously dismissed as harmless teenage pranks, now represent potential federal crimes when directed against protected witnesses under active security protocols. The systematic investigation reveals 47 documented incidents involving Golden Boy intimidation tactics over 4 years. Previous victims emerge from silence as federal protection offers alternatives to private settlements and non-disclosure agreements. Sarah Chen provides testimony from Swiss boarding school via secure video connection. David Martinez offers evidence from California that corroborates systematic harassment patterns. Jennifer Walsh, David Park, and 12 other students who paid protection money receive federal victim status and legal representation. Their parents discover that systematic extortion in educational settings violates multiple federal statutes when perpetrators cross state lines or use digital communication systems. The protection racket generates federal racketeering charges that carry mandatory minimum sentences. Blake's tactical training becomes relevant in ways she hoped to avoid. Federal marshals require detailed debriefing sessions about her family's protection status, potential security breaches, and threat assessment regarding continued enrollment at Riverside Prep. Her cover identity, maintained for 3 years, now requires complete reconstruction. Dr. Stone receives federal notification that his daughter's exposure compromises their current placement. The consulting business that provides cover for federal testimony preparation must relocate again, potentially disrupting organized crime prosecution timelines that depend on his continued cooperation. 15 families depend on his testimony. Blake's self-defense incident affects multiple federal cases. The criminal syndicate that necessitated Stone family protection maintains extensive surveillance networks designed to locate federal witnesses. Blake's public revelation of military tattoos creates digital footprints that sophisticated tracking systems can exploit. Social media posts, news coverage, and investigative documents generate information trails that lead directly to their current location. Financial costs extend beyond legal representation into comprehensive security upgrades. The Stone family's relocation requires new identities, employment transition, educational transcripts, medical records, and establishing believable background histories that withstand professional investigation. Federal witness protection budgets absorb $2.3 million in associated expenses. Psychological counseling becomes mandatory for all involved parties. Blake undergoes evaluation for operational stress related to maintaining dual identities while navigating normal teenage social development. The Golden Boys receive assessment for antisocial behavioral patterns that suggest potential escalation toward criminal activity without appropriate intervention. Riverside Prep Academy faces federal oversight that transforms administrative procedures completely. Title IX compliance reviews reveal systematic failures to protect students from harassment and intimidation. Financial aid programs undergo examination for discriminatory practices that favor wealthy families over qualified applicants from diverse backgrounds. Media attention creates additional security complications. News organizations request interviews about elite private school corruption and federal witness protection program vulnerabilities. Blake's identity requires further concealment, while legal proceedings advance through federal court systems that operate on timescales measured in years rather than months. Emma Wells approaches Blake by the senior parking lot as October afternoon shadows stretch across Connecticut landscape, painted in autumn gold and crimson. Her footsteps create the same measured rhythm Blake recognizes from her own tactical training. Balanced weight distribution, ready positioning, systematic awareness of approach vectors, and potential threats. "That was impressive back there," Emma states quietly, her voice carrying appreciation that extends beyond typical teenage admiration. She maintains conversation distance that allows rapid movement while demonstrating respect for personal space boundaries. Most people would have panicked or tried to negotiate. Blake studies Emma's posture with professional interest. The casual stance reveals training that mirrors her own federal protection education. Shoulders positioned for movement, hands available for defensive action, weight distributed for immediate response requirements. Most people don't carry the same background complications. Emma's sleeve rides up slightly as she adjusts her backpack, revealing partial tattoo artwork that makes Blake's breath catch involuntarily. A phoenix wing tip extends from beneath fabric, rendered in similar artistic style but different color palette. Silver and blue rather than Blake's gold and crimson design. Different military unit, identical symbolic meaning. Shadow Unit 12, Emma mentions casually, confirming Blake's visual identification. Pacific Northwest operations, timber industry infiltration, environmental terrorism prevention. My father testified against eco-terrorist networks that planned attacks on federal facilities and civilian infrastructure targets. Blake's tactical training includes recognition protocols for other protected witnesses, but discovering another operational family at Riverside Prep suggests coordination that extends beyond coincidental placement. "How many of us attend this school?" "At least 6 families that I've identified," Emma responds, checking her phone with the same 12-minute pattern Blake maintains. Chemistry teacher Dr. Marshall has military background that suggests federal employment history. Maintenance supervisor Tom Bradley conducts security sweeps that exceed normal educational facility requirements. The implications cascade through Blake's consciousness like tactical assessment procedures she learned during protection program orientation. Riverside Prep Academy serves as unwitting safe house for multiple federal witness families, providing educational continuity while maintaining operational security through wealthy private school anonymity. "Does administration know?" Blake asks, scanning the parking lot for surveillance indicators that might suggest compromised security protocols. Emma shakes her head slightly, gesture revealing skepticism about administrative awareness levels. Compartmentalized information keeps everyone safer. Families know their own situations. Coordination happens through federal handlers rather than local institutional awareness. Principal Watson probably thinks we're all just wealthy transfer students with unusual academic backgrounds. Blake's phone displays exactly 12 minutes past 4 o'clock. Green dot confirmation signals continue, but today's incident creates uncertainty about future security status. My family might be relocating again. Federal protocols require assessment of exposure incidents and potential compromise indicators. Mine too, Emma admits, her controlled expression revealing emotional cost of constant relocation requirements. But maybe this time we can maintain contact through protected communication channels. Having someone who understands operational security requirements might make the next placement less isolating. They exchange encrypted contact information using federal-approved applications designed for witness-family communication. The digital handshake creates connection possibilities that don't exist outside protection program parameters. Friendship based on mutual understanding of security requirements and sacrifice implications. Two teenagers whose childhood ended when their parents chose federal cooperation over criminal complicity, discovering that shared trauma creates bonds stronger than normal social development allows. Their conversation continues as autumn light fades toward Connecticut winter, planning communication strategies that maintain security while allowing human connection. Blake checks her phone at 24 minutes past 4. Green dot steady. Federal handlers responsive. Extraction protocols available if situation deteriorates beyond management capabilities. But for the first time in 3 years, relocation might include friendship possibilities that make emotional investment worth security risks. Emma's matching phone check confirms identical protocol adherence. They walk toward separate transportation arrangements, maintaining observation discipline while processing the profound relief of discovering someone whose background allows complete honesty about fears, hopes, and daily challenges that normal teenagers never face. Behind them, Riverside Prep Academy continues its afternoon routine without awareness that federal witness families comprise significant portions of its student population. The Gothic architecture and academic excellence that attract wealthy families also provide perfect cover for systematic protection operations that keep organized crime prosecutions advancing through federal court systems. Preston Blackwood sits in federal interrogation rooms, learning that his father's political influence provides no protection against witness intimidation charges. Hunter faces defense contractor license reviews that threaten family business relationships. Sterling confronts social media evidence that demonstrates premeditation and systematic harassment coordination. Ryder discovers that hacking skills create federal liability when directed against protected individuals. 4 golden boys whose perfect record lasted until they selected the wrong target, discovering that some quiet transfer students carry protection extending far beyond local authority structures. Their systematic intimidation campaign generated federal case files that will follow them through college applications, employment background checks, and professional licensing reviews. Blake Stone walks toward her father's consulting business sedan, tattoos hidden beneath carefully chosen clothing that conceals evidence of survival, sacrifice, and systematic preparation for confrontations that normal teenagers never face. Tomorrow brings new challenges, but tonight includes encrypted communication with someone who understands the psychological cost of maintaining dual identities while protecting family secrets that keep organized crime prosecution advancing toward justice. The phoenix rises through flames, wings spread wide, carrying those who survived the fire toward uncertain but hopeful futures, where friendship might exist within security protocols that prioritize survival over normal social development. Some secrets are worth protecting. Some courage requires federal witness protection status. Some strength comes from surviving experiences that forge operational capabilities from civilian teenagers who chose their parents' integrity over comfortable complicity.